Luigi and Giuseppe are sitting on a bench. Luigi looks over at Giuseppe and says, "First the Emma come, and then I come. And then the two asses are together, I come again. And then the two asses are together again, I come a for a third time, and then I make a pee-pee, and I come a one last time." Just then, an old woman walks past him and goes, "That's terrible, you two men talking like that in front of all these children in this playground." And Giuseppe looks at her and goes, "What's your problem, lady? Me paisan, Luigi just explained to me how to spell Mississippi." Nothing? All right. It was a spelling joke. Hi, I'm Eric Aaron Lizer. I got a mustache now. PTSD. Mommy issues. Daddy issues. And this is the Evening Muse. Lots going on in film today. We got all these streaming services now. Peacock, Paramount Plus, Netflix, Hulu. Who knew? But the point is, it's not what it used to be. Now we can just sit at home and watch anything we want. Of course, it costs as much to get them all as cable used to, but that's besides the point. My question is this: why am I going to go to the theaters and spend $30 when I can sit at home and watch it right here from the comfort of my couch or on my bed if I want to, eating ice cream? It doesn't make much sense. So I want to know, in your opinion, why do we do this? Are we still going to go to the movies? Are we just going to stay home? So I want to thank you for coming on today, Dan. Oh, and for the guests, Dan Bachar, you may know him from such films as Basketball, Orgasmo, and Cannibal the Musical. Dan received his Bachelor's of Fine Arts in Film from the University of Colorado in Boulder back in '94. And it was there he fostered his friendship with fellow classmates Matt Stone and Trey Parker, leading to several years of collaboration and laughter. More recently, he can be seen in Guillermo del Toro's Nightmare Alley, where he played the role of Fifi, the bird girl. Currently, he's writing a stage play and is seeking financing for a neo-noir feature film that he wrote. So today's guest is Gian to discuss what I like to call Film Flam, the future of cinema in a streaming world. Thank you, Gian, for being on today. Welcome.
Thank you.
I very much appreciate this, and I think it gives the audience a great opportunity to get to know you, aside from the roles you played, and really get to understand you more as the man you are and the talent and actor you are. And I think it's great to have you come on and discuss this particular topic, which is cinema in this new streaming world. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thanks, Eric. No, of course. And before we really do get into it, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't mention the passing of David Lynch, which did happen very recently. So before we really get into any other things, I would like to know, did David Lynch make an impact on you? And what are your thoughts of him as a filmmaker?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm still sad. I'm still very, very sad. We lost an icon in film. He was absolutely one of my favorite directors of all time. I love all of his movies. He's one of the few filmmakers who is, I think, a legitimate artist who never adhered to a studio system. He was basically always able to just do whatever he wanted, with the exception of Dune. He was a true legend in the world of film. He basically reminded me, or actually let me know, that being strange was okay, and embracing all of the weird things you might like are okay. And it doesn't matter if you find an audience. hopefully you will, but your biggest audience should be yourself. Make the things you love to see, the things you have seen maybe in a dream. And if you're very lucky, you'll find other people that say, I love that too, or I don't know what that is, but I like it. And they'll keep buying your tickets.
Now let me ask you this, because I know the first film that I ever saw. Well, actually, that's not true. I mean, I remember seeing Eraserhead in film school, and that just sort of blew my mind. It kind of had this grotesque imagery. They had Moon Girl. She had like a big face and sort of like craters in her face and whatnot. And without giving too much away, spoiler alert, 40 years later or whatever it is, but they give birth. The girlfriend, the love interest, had given birth to almost like I called it half bird, half dog, half lady. Like I didn't know exactly what was going on, but it was just very grotesque. And, yeah, and I didn't know like if they were trying to allude to like, did she cheat on him with an animal, or is this supposed to be just like some deformity? Is it actually his? Is her parent or mother trying to push him into raising someone because that little monster needs a father figure? But I left watching that not having a full understanding of even what I saw. I was like, I don't know exactly what I'm supposed to get here, but it definitely made an impact.
Yeah, it's that's why it's so cool, because it's open to a lot of interpretation. The viewer is given a chance to bring, like what you said, whatever their idea of it is into that viewing, and it's mostly about the fear of being a new father. But what is your attachment necessarily to what's coming in? You might argue that looks like a creature because he doesn't want to be connected to it. He has a fear of this being his new life. You could be a creature because, like what you said, she gave birth to this other thing and she's making him be the dad. Right. There's so many ways to look at it, which is really cool. It's it's kind of a horror film from that aspect, because you're looking at it, like you said, it doesn't look human. It's this other humanoid creature thing. And he's trying to find some attachment to it. He sees, that this thing needs help. And so he's just trying to make the best that he can.
Well, okay. So let me ask you this. You did go to film school, like we mentioned earlier. You went to the University of Colorado at Boulder. And I know that's when I was really more so exposed to Lynch, was at film school itself. But would you suggest, based off the experience you had at film school, that in this day and age of streaming and YouTube and other opportunities for creatives to kind of put their visions and work out there, would you still suggest that other aspiring filmmakers and actors go that route as to attending film school?
Wait, go which route?
Of going to film school, going actually like a USC or Chapman or anything like that.
Yes and no. I would say that the education I received being a film major was great, because I had a greater appreciation of the history of cinema. I was forced, basically, because of the curriculum, to watch older films and newer films and analyze them, to write papers on them, to theorize about them. And so it gave me a greater appreciation of why a film might be important and why a film might be historically relevant later on. It gave me an understanding of different styles of direction. It made me understand why certain directors are important. It made me basically knowledgeable and giving me a reference point on things that I've done before. But I don't know that that necessarily makes you a better filmmaker if you just have a certain very specific idea about making movies. I mean, there might be some filmmakers out there that can just make a movie and just make it like David Lynch does and just present what is in their dreams and just present what is in their subconscious and translate that onto celluloid. You know, that guy doesn't necessarily, or he didn't necessarily need to know a history of film to present what he did, you know, because he was an artist who was just saying, hey, here's some weird shit I just saw. I want you to see it too. Let's figure it out together and see what it is. That said, that's a different style of filmmaking. But I think that altogether, I'm very thankful for the education I received. And even more so as an actor, because I didn't pursue filmmaking to actually make movies.
Oh, wow.
I didn't necessarily want to direct movies. I just wanted to understand movies. As an actor, I wanted to have a chance to learn how to act on film. I basically became a film major because I learned very quickly that all the film students cast other film students in their films. And I realized that it was a chance for me to get to audition for other student films, build a history of myself on film, doing student films, learn what works, what doesn't, and why I actually want to keep doing it. I come from a theater background. I love doing stage work, but like David Lynch, he was inspired to do film because it was like a moving painting. He realized that his painting was even more exciting as a moving subject. And I got inspired by the idea of putting myself on film as a mini painting that could keep moving and learning how to work within that very specific frame and become something else.
Well, let me ask you a quick question then, because you've said a lot of things that have sparked my curiosity. One of which being how you became a film student because you knew it would give you an opportunity to do more screen acting and have the opportunity to meet other filmmakers where you could potentially act. But you had said that you were working on a screenplay when we had talked a little bit about what you have going on now. You said you're currently working on writing something and you'd like to put out this project. So I guess my question is, what is it exactly you're seeking to achieve with the medium now? Why film? Why not a stage play? Why not purely acting? What separates film from these other avenues in which you could, tell a story and perform?
I did just recently write a feature-length film. It's a neo-noir thriller, and I'm looking for financing. It's hard. I'm not familiar with that whole world of investment. So I've got a couple of producers that are, I guess, better versed in that avenue than I am. And hopefully I can get that to happen. But in the meantime, I didn't want to just sit around and wait. So I wanted to continue telling stories. So I'm right now in the process of writing a stage play. And the stage play I'm writing is actually, it exists within the same world as my movie, as my film. It's actually sort of a kind of a sequel to it, actually. There's a couple of characters from my movie that exist within my play.
Okay.
And I just wanted to explore the idea of still telling the stories that I'm telling with the same characters, but in different venues. I love theater. That's my all-time favorite. It's the best place ever to tell the story, in my opinion. I love it. So I wanted to just check that out again and go back to writing a play. And I have some opportunities to actually put my better opportunities, actually, ironically. Well, not ironically, but a better opportunity now to put another story on a stage versus on celluloid, because it takes so much more money to do it on celluloid. So I'm continuing my stories, and maybe, who knows, maybe it'll work in reverse and my play will get on stage, and that might spark some interest in the movie I wrote.
Got it. Okay. So since you are kind of focusing on more film, would you say that right now, or would you say it's equally film and theater as far as what as a storytelling?
Well, so far it's been film. Mostly everything I've done so far has been on film,
Mm-hmm.
but I love theater.
Mm-hmm.
And if I was able to make a living from theater, I would certainly do more theater. But
Interesting.
oh, for sure, that'd be my first choice.
Hmm.
But yeah, whatever it takes to be able to continue telling the stories that I want to tell.
Okay. Well, with regard to film specifically, then, I think so many artists' influences impact the way they choose to tell stories. And with that in mind, I could tell you my three biggest filmmaking influences, but I think the audience might be more interested in knowing yours, or if you do have three filmmakers that kind of specifically influence your style, or the way you approach film.
God, it would be tough to nail it down, to be honest, because I mean, David Lynch would be an obvious first because you just mentioned that, but it's actually true. He's one of my favorites. But my inspiration is mostly drawn from actors who are really great at telling stories too. Gary Oldman is my all-time favorite actor. I think he is unquestionably the best. And he wrote and directed a movie called Nil by Mouth. It's a little independent film that I don't know how many people have seen it. It's fantastic. It's a great little drama, and I know that he would love to do more. But it's interesting because there are so many actors that I love that wanted to be filmmakers, like Jack Nicholson, one of my all-time favorite actors. He made a movie. He directed a movie that was the sequel to a Chinatown. He directed The Two Chicks.
Oh yeah. I didn't know he directed that. I had no idea.
Yeah, he directed that. And so I draw inspiration mostly from people that, like myself, are actors that love to be a part of the story, but ultimately want to be able to tell the story too. And I would say that, although neither of those filmmakers I just mentioned have made films that were hugely successful, they're well-made movies. And I mean, my God, Charlie Chaplin, I think, would be my all-time favorite, though.
Right.
Charlie Chaplin is to me, the quintessential actor filmmaker.
Right.
He is to me the pinnacle. Charlie Chaplin is or was the greatest movie maker of all time. He was the movie star. He was the movie director. He did the soundtrack. He did the editing. He did everything. He was the Prince. He's like Prince.
Right.
Like Prince did it all. I feel like Charlie Chaplin and Prince are like right there. They're like, those are the two dudes that I admire most out of all the artists I've ever noticed. Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and Chaplin, interestingly enough, was a major crossover in the time with the silent films, and then once it started going into talkies, and so many people had failed because their voice didn't match the persona in which they were portraying themselves. And I don't even know if you could say Chaplin made that leap, because I know when he tried putting out The Great Dictator, he has that amazing speech at the end that's really speaks to trying to be better and more elevated, especially as a leader, even though he's playing almost like a version of Hitler at the time. They both had that same mustache.
Yeah, it was definitely a parody of Hitler.
Well, I'll tell you too, I always thought it was so unfortunate that Hitler took that mustache away from, was it Laurel had it, and then Chaplin was rocking that mustache. It's not a Chaplin mustache. Hitler ruined it. You can only grow the hair right here, you're screwed. That's it. Nothing to do about it. It doesn't even have to be you don't even have to be anti-Semitic. But
well,
anyway.
it is a comical look, which actually reinforces the comedy of being the joke that is Hitler.
100%. Well, okay. So speaking of that transition between silent film to talkies, there's another transition taking place now with regard to streaming, which is kind of, you know, a little diatribe at the beginning. This whole world we're in now with these streaming wars and different cinemas maybe trying to find their particular thing, where, you know, Netflix is very global. They have a lot of global properties now, Korean properties and whatnot, Latin American properties and all these things. And they also were first to the table with regard to streaming. But now, you know, you got Amazon Prime, to me, which seems a little more hyper violent and whatnot. And then some of the studios that are jumping in with their own content. How do you think streaming is impacted the major studios' decision-making process with regard to the films they're currently greenlighting and releasing? Or do you think it makes any difference at all?
Unfortunately, like you said, people would prefer, most people, because it's cheaper, they would prefer to stay home and just, you know, and it's comfortable to sit in their living room with their own home theater and watch a movie, which I completely understand.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly don't think that's ever going to go away. I think that the fact that there are mostly just big budget spectacle films in the theaters now that get people there, you know, it's unfortunate, but it's real. I mean, it's just how it is. I mean, there's no real draw to get yourself out of the living room when you can get that same amazing entertainment in your own living room, unless the spectacle is so great and grand that you can't replicate that in your living room.
Mm-hmm.
Then yeah, of course you go to the theater. But I think the biggest move, the smartest move that theaters can make now is to lower the prices. And most people will not pay the money to go to a movie on top of just leaving their house. And I mean, like myself, I just bought a membership to the AMC A-List. It's great. It's this amazing app with AMC where, you know, you can see 12 movies for a month for $25.
Right.
And those, I mean, all of those movies could be IMAX movies, which normally cost like $25 or more each anyway. You can see 12 of them in a month for $25. That gets me to the theater, you know? I am so thankful that they do that because, I mean, ultimately the theaters are making money from the concessions. They just want people to fill the seats. And so what happens now is, in order for the theaters to actually stay in business, they just have to fill seats because they have to sell concessions. And so that means they have to allow a way for the consumer to think it's reasonable to even show up. The theaters, I mean, the studios, I would assume, I don't know, I'm not quoting any of them, but I would assume that each of those look at that discounted price, although they'd rather make more profits in the theater. The way the budget plan has worked now is that when a movie shows up in a theater and it does well, maybe it runs for, you know, a few weeks, that time slot that they are in a theater is actually advertising for them when they go on to streaming and when they sell their Blu-rays and DVDs, because now they actually have, it's almost like free advertising, a profitable advertising, because they're making ticket sales a percentage of it to get people to notice and hear about the movie before it goes into streaming. So it's kind of a win-win in a way for the studios to at least put their movies in the theater for a little while, because it gives a chance for the general public to hear about it. And then regardless of whether or not they decide to make the transition from their couch to the theater seat, they know about the movie, and later on they will check it out in their living room they will rent it or they will watch it on whatever streaming service they have that they're paying for. But that moment that was in the theater is kind of an advertisement for that moment. It's unfortunate that it's worked out that way, I think, obviously, because I would love to see every movie in a theater. I would love to have every film, whole crew. I mean, there's so many people involved, being able to see their work up on a big screen. But the truth is, most people won't see it on a big screen. They just won't.
Well, let me ask, do you think, because I remember when we were growing up, or even before our time, there used to be a lot of really gritty films. A lot of these Scorsese movies and stuff like that. Early days were just really kind of like adult themes, and films like what's this movie? Where the wife is like an alcoholic, and gosh, the guy who plays Columbo. What, you know this guy's name? He ended up playing Columbo. You know what I'm talking about, though, this actor?
Yeah, I don't know his name. I know who you're talking about.
It's called like like I don't know, like a wife's. It's not called a wife's horror, but essentially it's like something like that too. Just dealing with this person, and then also anyone in the chat, if you have any idea what the hell I'm talking about, go ahead and let us know too. But essentially, just like you have an alcoholic wife, and this guy is here things at home, and just sort of like doesn't feel like it's an entertaining movie. It's a drama for adults, and now I don't really see those type of films in the theater much anymore at all. I mean,
well, that's because you can get them on streaming.
And that leads me to my next question is
those stories have not gone away. They're still available. You're just not getting them in a theater. The reason why you saw them in a theater before is because there wasn't streaming.
Right. So would you agree, and I think we're already kind of getting there, are these more compelling storylines, or at least exploration of adult themes, happening in like limited series now and episodics on these streaming services specifically, rather than in the theater, because they're looking at it as a potential loss? Like they're not going to spend that kind of money on something that could seem like a downer.
Well, they're still making them. All of those things are still those stories are being told. They just have different distribution deals because people don't go to the theater anymore. They'll watch those movies. They want to hear those stories, but they know they can get it in their living room.
Right. I'm looking at my phone now.
There's no stoppage to those kinds of stories being told. There's just different distribution avenues.
Yeah. I was trying to see if I could find on my phone the name of that film I was trying to talk about. It was really good. It's one of these things. It's like there's so many films that end up winning the Academy Award that when I hear the premise, I don't want to see it because it doesn't seem fun. It's like,
yeah. You know what? I'll tell you one thing that just reminded me.
Yeah.
The Conclave with Ray Fiennes, Stanley Tucci. Oh my God. It's a movie about, it's nominated for Best Picture. It's a movie about the whole process of nominating and securing the new Pope.
Oh,
and
wow.
That's a topic I never thought I would be interested in. I would never even go to a theater to see that, much less watch it at home. But the fact that it was getting notice and people are like, man, this is a great film. One night in my living room, I watched it on TV and I was like on the edge of my chair for like over 2 hours, wondering who the next Pope was going to be. Right. And after when the movie was done, I was like, wow, that's great filmmaking. Right. That's great on every level, because that's a topic I didn't give a shit about. And suddenly I really cared. I mean, I cared so much that I was just enthralled for 2 hours. And I was like, holy cow, what's going on here? I had to know what was going to end up. And that's never a movie that the general public would go to see. Never in a million years would they go to the theater, get out of their homes, get in the car, get in traffic, find parking, buy a ticket, deal with concessions, sit in a theater filled with people. You're just not going to do that. It doesn't happen anymore. That only happened in the 70s and 80s because we had to.
Right.
That's the only reason that happened.
Yeah.
Now you can still get those stories, and there's still a huge public for it. People love those stories, but they're going to do it at home.
And it's so sad, because I think, you see, these are the films that tend to be the Academy Award nominees and such. These powerhouse performances that really kind of strike a nerve in the viewer, but it's just harder, like, to get someone to pay that money to go do it now.
Yeah, I would never go see The Conclave in the theater.
Well, okay,
right now, not a chance in hell.
So let me ask: do you think that the art house or indie film is dead? Like, the days of us going to see these movies that are more uncomfortable, is that over? Or is that not a theater experience anymore?
No, that's a crowd that will never go away.
Okay.
Yeah, because what those theaters do, on top of showcasing new, independent, unusual work, is they're also keeping the doors open by showcasing cult films and things that the public will keep coming back to. Those theaters, those art house theaters, are not only showing new films. Most of their revenue is generated from a following of cult films, a great calendar of films that they present. I mean, you can look at Quentin Tarantino has 2 films in LA that do that exact same thing. The New Beverly Theater in Hollywood, and then the Vista Theater in Los Feliz. Both of those theaters mostly keep their doors open with old films. People love to see older films on film. Right. That's one of the big draws too. They only show stuff that's actually on 35 millimeter or 70 millimeter. There's actually a 16 millimeter and 8 millimeter room at the Vista. But the big draw is people that actually love film, and they will go see stuff on film. But then they'll see new things that are showcased there too. But yeah, that's a crowd that's never going to go away. It's just not a huge crowd, but it is a crowd.
Shout out to the New Beverly. Also, whenever you hear that bell, that means you said something that blew my mind. Okay, so don't worry, you're not.
Yeah, and the Vista. Shout out to the Vista.
I've never been that one. You really? Yeah.
Oh, the Vista is my all-time favorite theater in LA.
Okay.
The Vista is the theater where they filmed the opening to True Romance.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, where the main guy's watching like a kung fu series, and the prostitute comes in on a fake date, and she comes in there and hangs out with him. That's in the Vista.
Huh. Well, okay. Let me kind of change gears really quick, because I know you were telling me you have a hard out at 7. I want to stick to this schedule too. So I know we got about 45 minutes, and I know a lot of the know you from the comedies that you've been a part of, whether it be Orgasmo, whether it was Cannibal the Musical, Basketball. So I know you have a lot of experience acting in comedy, and from the little bit that you and I have been able to interact and talk, you seem like a pretty serious-minded person. So let me ask you, what would you say is more difficult to pull off in general, convincingly, comedy or drama, and why?
Comedy, without question.
Agreed.
Yeah, comedy. I mean, comedy is a different style of acting. It's very musical. You have to have a very musical sensibility because it's all about timing and rhythm and beats. I would say that any successful comedic actor can absolutely be a dramatic actor, but it doesn't go the other way. Just because you're good at drama doesn't mean that you understand timing and rhythm and beats. There's a lot of people that are very talented and very smart artists, but they're not musically inclined.
Mhm.
And so that the idea of doing comedy, it escapes them because they don't actually have that sensibility.
Mhm.
It's I feel like it's sometimes otherworldly because you're tapping into this, like you're surfing and you're catching a wave when you're acting in comedy, and you're working more in communion with your fellow actors than ever before, because it's an orchestrated event that is really more about pace, timing, and rhythm and beats,
Mhm.
like getting a bunch of musicians together in a room in a studio and trying to create a song together. You can't do that unless you can play music, and you
Right.
can't do comedy unless you understand music.
Right. Yeah. No, and I think it's such an important distinction too, with you talking about timing, the element of timing in comedy. I also think there's so many different stylistic elements within comedy. Drama, you're conveying emotion.
Yeah.
Comedy, I feel like you're trying to create uh, an
Well, you're doing something on top of the story.
right. Yeah.
It's all about a very stylized presentation as
Mhm.
opposed to just presenting truth.
Well, okay.
Drama,
So,
you're just presenting reality,
mhm.
or depending on whatever style you're working in. Drama is about telling some kind of truth,
In an
whereas
honest way.
comedy,
There's an honesty in drama.
absolutely. But same thing with comedy, but it takes it to another level where you're also working within a rhythm and you're working within a style that is very specific.
Mhm.
And if you're not hitting those beats, you're not part of the deal.
Well, you had mentioned earlier, we briefly talked about Chaplin and his influences as being maybe the ultimate actor's director, because he was the actor too. He was also directing himself largely and didn't have it. But I feel like these classic comedies. I'm a big Marx Brothers fan,
I
and
love the Marx Brothers.
I
Yeah,
love. I
they're so awesome.
they're the archetypes to me. And I was actually I had this conversation with not to name drop, but Chappelle and I were talking once about this, and I was like, "Are you a Marx Brothers fan?" And he wasn't as familiar. And I was telling him, to me, that's the best example of four key elements of comedy, where you have Groucho there just with the wise cracks, being a shit talker. He's gonna say something to you. He's got something to say. He's got one right there for you, right there, Fred. No matter what, you're walking in.
Yeah.
Here's your wise crack. I'm gonna take you down to peg. Boom, boom, boom. I'm quicker. I'm wittier than you. And
Yeah.
then you have Chico, who to me was witticisms. You say anything to him, he's going to zing you. He's thinking faster than you. You set him up, he's going to knock it out of the park no matter what you say. Hey, I'm going to go grab a sandwich. He has a joke about you getting a sandwich. Oh, okay, I'm going to go wash my hands. Yeah, you're going to go. He's got a joke about you washing your hands. No matter what you're saying, he's right there with it. You got Harpo with the slapstick, the physical element of the comedy that you see in Three Stooges and Laurel.
Yeah, he's the clown.
Yeah, he's got the physical element, and then you have Zeppo there, who's the anchor in the satire. And you need that guy. You need someone who's like, things are on fire, everything's crazy, they're juggling plates, and you have someone just there, just like, well, what's that? What's going on here? And just playing it straight and helping you set everyone else up. You need that person, I feel like, because if everyone's a clown, it kind of gets lost. But if you have someone there rooting it, and that woman, I wish I knew her name, who was in so many of their films. There was this actress, like an older woman. Well, I never, all the time.
Yeah, she's amazing. I'm in love with her. Yeah,
she's great,
so
and she was always just there to. Oh, I can't believe you are doing this.
Yeah, she was amazing.
You need that person to anchor it. Another great example, and I mean, it's so sad that I feel like a lot of the Zoomers and some millennials now, they don't go back into the archives like I think more of Gen Xers and whatnot. We used to watch all this stuff. Is like Leslie Nielsen, these airplane movies, the Naked Gun movies, him just playing everything so straight, regardless. is so freaking funny. No matter what's happening, just being the straight man in comedy is such a gift. Now, if you're not really working in film, you don't understand. Once cut is called, the entire crew might be dying. The cast might be losing it. Like, if it's funny to everyone who's involved too. But we're just like, hold on, this is very serious business here. It's monkey business. It's the serious business of comedy. But then once we cut, the whole crew knows when you got it. When it's funny, it's funny.
Yeah.
But
yeah, they're great. They're the best.
I would agree. And then also talking about, when you have comics playing drama. I love when Adam Sandler plays serious. I love when Jim Carrey plays serious. I loved when Robin Williams played serious, because there's so much pain generally being kind of guarded in these clowns, in these comedic actors. It's a good way. I've heard expressed like saying, why did you go into this? Why did you go into comedy, whether it be stand-up or whatnot, comedic writing? And people say, well, because this was a great way for me to be able to control the laughter. Now you're not laughing at me anymore. Now I'm creating this scenario for you to laugh. And I have a little more control, where before, one reason or another, whether it be a fat guy, this guy, that guy, a little something, and you're being picked on and laughter, you're like, no. I am going to dictate the laughs now. And it's also a superpower to get people to like you. If you're funny, it's hard for you. It's hard to hate on the funny guy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, sorry, I just a little tangent, because I've spoken to people who said they thought that drama was harder to pull off. And I'm like, no, that's just because you're funny. I'm like, you're naturally funny, but it's not necessarily filming something and getting it to pull off something well. And I don't mean good. I think people really love effort and appreciate good. And that's why I think this whole YouTube or streaming clip culture has taken off, because you'll see someone create a little reel. They're walking through the grocery store being silly. Love it. But you see someone put together a piece of art, something that's done really well. And I'd say some of the stuff that Matt and Trey did is 100% art. South Park is the most biting social commentary of the past 20 to 30 years, I'd say. Like, they were hitting everything when the rest of the world is just sort of trying to avoid it.
Well, here's the thing that's different, though. You mentioned people being silly and funny online.
Uh-huh.
That's not comedic acting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because, and I'll tell you why. It's people just being silly on their own.
Hmm.
They're not working with like a band. They're not working with a group of actors that are also being funny and trying to tell a story at the same time. They're just being silly, and that's not acting. That's not acting. That's just being a clown. That's being a buffoon at the circus.
Right.
Which is, like you said, an element within a band, like being the harpo.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're just a harpo and you're not actually part of a story and you're not actually able to tell a story, you're not acting. You're not doing the deal. So people that say it's tougher to be dramatic, well, those are people that are probably just, in the mode of being silly.
Mm-hmm.
And they've never actually tried to tell a story while being funny.
Right. Well, okay. And you also said something that kind of sparked another thought in me right now too, with actors portraying a role, portraying a part, portraying a persona, whether it be the straight man, the clown, whatever it might be within a presentation. How do you actually feel about actors portraying these roles that are very antithetical to who they are in real life? Whether it not just be a comedic role. Let's say it's someone playing a role of a gay character that may have AIDS, like McConaughey did in Dallas Buyers Club, or Robert Downey Jr. playing an actor trying to play a black character, an Australian trying to get ready for a role playing a black character. Ultimate satire, meta within Tropic Thunder. Because I know more recently there's been a lot of heat on what people may call appropriation, say, hey, if you're going to have someone play a transgender role, or someone play a gay role, or someone play this, don't give it to a cis white male or whatever it might be. Give it to someone that is actually that. How do you feel about people and actors playing roles that they don't actually represent in real life?
Well, to me, that sounds like, what is it? Like, it feels like you're saying, well, what is it like to be an actor and want to be an actor? Because an actor is becoming something that you're not. So there really shouldn't be any limitations on that whatsoever. Mm-hmm. If you're discounting an opportunity for somebody to play that role, then, you know, that's not okay. Mm-hmm. However, if let's say you mentioned some gay characters, a non-gay character playing a gay role, you have a room filled with actors who are auditioning for that role. You've got like 10 guys in the room that are actually gay, and you've got one guy in the room that's not gay, and they're all auditioning for the part. It doesn't matter who gets the part. It's whoever is the best actor.
Right.
Who played the role better.
Right.
It doesn't matter if you're gay or not.
Right. That wouldn't be acting. That's not
cool.
Yeah, that's
a reference to the gay guys just because they're gay.
Right.
If that one dude in the room that wasn't gay played the role better than all of them,
yeah,
he gets the role. That's how that works.
Agreed. I think it's also in large part the definition of acting. It's like you're not.
I mean, Jesus Christ! Nobody ever wondered if Anthony Hopkins should play the role of Cannibal Lecter if he hasn't killed somebody.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
He's a fucking actor.
That's literally where I was going with it. It's like no one would ever say, "Oh, you're going to play a serial killer." How many people did you murder in preparation for this role?
Has he been to prison?
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. You're going to be portraying a rapist. Like no one would ever say, "Why are you out there doing this?" Like it's to me a little ridiculous. Now I understand on the back end of it, saying, "Hey, we need representation." If you're writing Black stories, it makes sense that the writer and the director might
when it comes to
be Black
sure.
or Indian, if that's the story. But
sure, if it's an ethnicity, absolutely
right.
I would say a white actor should never wear blackface to play a Black role when there should be Black people playing the role.
Well, we're in agreement there.
That's ridiculous.
We're in. Let if anything is taken away from this pod, let it be known that both Dean and Liza agree. White people should not be wearing blackface playing African American roles.
That just shouldn't happen. Yeah,
we both agree right there.
Pretty sure about that.
Don't say that we think differently. All right, fair enough. Now let me ask you this though: is Hollywood a meritocracy?
In what regard? What do you mean?
Well, I mean, let's say you're talking about someone being the best performer, the best actor, and maybe they aren't going to get the role for logistical reasons or potential blowback from the audience or society, or the studio may not want to deal with the heat. For instance, recently Marvel had pulled, what is his name? Jonathan Majors, who's playing Kang the Conqueror. He was known from, what was he doing before that? I know he did some H.P. Lovecraft type episodic or something like that. But essentially, African-American actor gets into some sort of heat because there's some domestic issue where I'm not sure if it was his wife or his girlfriend. They're getting into some sort of fight. And from what I know of it, and I don't have all the facts on this, he was almost kind of defending himself or trying to get away from the situation. But it turned out where it's like, if something's filed, you're fighting with your wife. Now you're in the news, and now it's Marvel is supporting a domestic abuser, or by allowing him to be the main antagonist in these upcoming films. And they ended up changing and scrapping what they were going to do for these upcoming Avenger movies, where he was going to be the main antagonist, to bringing out, now it's going to be Doctor Doom. They changed everything. And now Doctor Doom is going to be the main antagonist. And they were for a long time thinking about just scrapping him with regard to finishing up his storylines. He started something in Ant-Man and the Wasp and these Loki movies and whatnot. But he was very, very talented, and it was very compelling where they were going with it, you know, multiverse type thing and an army of oneself. And now they may end up bringing him back. They may bring him back to finish up his story because enough time has passed where, you know, we're on to the next thing to be outraged about as a society or online culture. So my question is, when I say, is Hollywood a meritocracy? Are these opportunities being offered to the people most deserving, whether it be by the audience or the studios or time put in? Or is it something else that ends up dictating who's offered the roles and who are getting these chances, whether it be through nepotism or, you know, the beauty fallacy or whatnot, just knowing the right person?
Well, unfortunately, it's always come down to the same thing, which is that filmmaking, most especially from a studio level, is all about money. It's about the bottom dollar, and it's about distribution. So I would say 90% of the casting comes down to marketability and whether or not the distributors feel like they can sell a product with the components that are involved in that package. So it has nothing to do with talent. Wow. It has nothing to do with who people think they want to see. It has nothing to do with any of that. It only has to do with who the distributors think they can sell. So, I mean, you could have a great new soda product and your local liquor store is going to pick Coca-Cola because they already know people love it. They're not going to take a gamble on this new drink just because some guy showed up and said, I'm telling you, this drink actually tastes better. They don't give a shit because they already know that Coca-Cola sells. So they're going to sell Coca-Cola. Unless they have a whole bunch of people telling them that this other drink tastes better, they're still not going to give a shit. Unless that new drink is suddenly making a bunch of money, then they're like, oh, this new drink has 100 million followers on Twitter.
Right.
Well, now we have a built-in audience for this new drink.
Yeah.
Yes, we should try to sell this shit.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with talent. It has nothing to do with who should actually be there. It completely 100% has to do with who the distributor feels they can sell the most successfully.
You know, and I think the soda analogy is so apt because I don't know if you remember in the 90s when they tried to introduce Crystal Pepsi to the market. And basically it was the same thing, except they took out the caramel coloring that is like terrible for us. This stuff they're just like putting color. They're like, we're just going to take out something that's bad for you. And it didn't go over because the general public is like, clear, that's lemon lime. Wait, cola that I can't see, it is brown in my cup. No way. You're like, what are you talking? They're trying to get rid of a poison, and it didn't work. So
they know it's a better drink for you, but the public's like, nope, I don't want it. They don't sell it.
Yeah. It's more about what
an established audience
make money. What's going to make them their money?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's depressing. Let's change gears real quick a little bit. So earlier I had mentioned these streaming services, at least to me, seem like there are some overarching themes that I may just be perceiving myself. I like to connect the dots. I'm not going to say I'm a conspiracy theorist. I'm not going to say some of that stuff. There might be, but we're not going to do that. But there are undertones that I'm seeing. Like I know, I think Amazon Prime may be affiliated with either MGM or Sony, one of them. Okay. And when I'm watching these shows on Amazon Prime, and I've seen recently Fallout, which was good. And then I started watching a little bit about the man in the high tower, and I don't know. I haven't seen The Expanse, but some of their own shows that they have, and I watch, and I noticed one thing: it is violent as hell, man. You can't see a titty on most of these things, but they'll blow someone's face and head clear off and spray brains on the wall, and eyeball is dripping, and that's okay for anyone to click and watch. I mean, I guess it's up to the parent to censor it, but in America, generally, nudity. I'm not talking about sex. Definitely not talking about pornography, penetration. I'm just saying generally, some of these things seem more accepted. And on Amazon Prime, I'm seeing a lot of hyper violence. It's not just like someone being shot. It's a little over the top. Netflix, like I said, I've seen more international content. But I'm just wondering if you feel like there are any undertones that you've seen on any of these streaming services, or if you think that any of these streamers, like I don't know if you have like AMC Plus, they absorbed Shudder, so they have a lot of low budget or shoestring budget horror on there and whatnot. If you think you're sensing any sort of undertones in any of these streaming services.
I think no, I haven't really encountered distinctive differences. I think all of them are trying to showcase as much of a wide variety of programming that they have access to. You have things like Shudder. Shudder just specializes in horror. There's different platforms like that have very specific content. But aside from that, I would say that all of them are trying to be as varied as they can be, but it's all dependent upon the distributors and studios that they have access to and the licensing agreements that are put forth. But aside from that, no. Like back in the 80s, like Cinemax was always my go-to late at night.
Oh, yeah.
To see some boobs.
Yeah.
That was the place to go for boobs.
Shout out to boobs.
But that doesn't happen anymore, I don't think. I see boobs on all of them.
That's true.
There's boobs everywhere.
Boobs all over.
There's violence everywhere. I think all of them are trying to be as varied as they can be.
Okay. Then what about in the theater then? Okay, so in the theater, well, let me ask you this first, okay? Have you personally experienced a film in 4DX, ScreenX, and IMAX 3D? Those three specifically.
ScreenX is not. That's the only one I have not tried yet.
Okay, but do you know what it is?
Yeah, I looked it up. When you mentioned it before when we were talking, I looked it up and I'm fascinated by it. I want to check it out. Okay, I've never tried it.
So basically, just to kind of let the
you're working with 3 projectors.
Okay, see, I didn't even know how they were doing it. For the audience or anyone who hasn't heard of ScreenX, well, let's do the ones that more people are familiar with first. Okay, so what do we say? IMAX. Most people know that's just a larger screen, essentially, right?
Well, no, it's not just a larger screen. It's actually a larger format of film. Each frame. When I went to film school, I learned this. Each frame is actually the size of a 3x5 note card. The cameras are huge. It's a massive camera that's loud as shit. And it's not that it's just being blown up on a bigger screen. It's actually filmed in a much larger format.
So standard format is what, 64 millimeters, is that right?
No, 35 millimeters is usually the standard.
So it'd be, okay, so then it would be double that. So we're talking about 70 millimeter would be IMAX then.
It's IMAX is bigger than 70 millimeter. I don't know the exact format, but it's bigger.
Okay.
So it's a very specific camera. It's huge.
So we're talking about more richness and tone, more depth, more able to capture light and shadow.
Yeah, because if you film something on 35 millimeter and just project it on an IMAX screen, yeah, you lose resolution and color and all that.
Okay.
It's not the same thing. It's something that's actually been filmed specifically with an IMAX camera.
Well, in a great way, I think for the viewer to get an idea is go outside on a full moon and look at that moon, and now pull out your cell phone and try to get a good picture of what you're perceiving with your eye, and how close can you get with your camera on your phone. Same thing to levels with film now, and these film cameras capturing an image and the depth you may want to get across. And that's not even including, once we're talking about bringing in sort of like CGI, if they want to do some sort of post-production work and whatnot, they might be able to get it to look more seamless.
Yeah.
Okay, so IMAX is bigger, crisper. IMAX 3D. You go there, I loved it, man. You go to one of these theaters on Hollywood Boulevard out there, El Capitan, Grum's Chinese, the Egyptian, one of them. Shout out to the ArcLight. I don't think the ArcLight is up and running anymore, but these old theaters that are here with these huge IMAX screens in 3D, it's a great experience, a great viewing experience that is different than what you can get at home. Even if you have an amazing theater, you likely don't have that IMAX format unless you're, a multi-millionaire. 4DX. 4DX is the ride. I love 4DX.
Yeah, it is fun. The chairs shake and wind blows at you, and they spray water on you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's going to spray right in your face. You can get some water in your mouth, which is, I don't want to think too much about that because I don't know about those tubes ever being cleaned. But there's one smell generally, and the first time I ever experienced 4DX, because they do blast some sort of mist out when there's something on the screen that should smell. I saw King Kong first. So now I only associate that smell with gorilla booty. That's what that smell is to me. No matter what the film is, they have a fan blade will kick up sometimes if there's going to be wind happening, strobes if there's lightning. I think we hit all the notes. Oh, and the seat. The seat is going to shake around, move, tilt. I remember I saw Gravity, which is a great movie. Sandra Bullock, George Clooney, going out into space, and they're just such subtle tilts of the seat to the side as we're spinning around the planet and whatnot. I cannot confirm nor deny if I was under the influence of any substances at the time, but I will tell you that I was tripping out.
It's fun.
Yeah, it was a good time. Now the one that you said is less known as the Screen X, where not only do you have the letterbox format in front of you, but now the walls are kind of at an angle. Yeah. So now your peripheral is also taking out where the screen is kind of wrapping around your head. And I don't know if there are any films specifically made for that format yet, but it is worth consideration. Like these experiences that we aren't going to get at home, if they're going to start taking more advantage of these, so we go to see something.
Yeah.
Well, also, we have a question in the chat for you. I'm going to go ahead and bring this in. Mindy Will is asking, Dean, what was your favorite movie in 4DX that you saw?
It was one of the new Star Wars movies. It was, God, I wish I remember. It was the middle one. Was it,
Attack of the Clones?
No, God, no. No, not the.
Oh, the new ones. These new. Yeah. Oh no, not. Oh, the prequels or the new ones?
The new ones. God, it was the one where Kylo Ren was fighting Daisy Ripley. They were out in the rain fighting. There was a saber fight, and I just remember that the sprinkler system came on because it was raining, and I was just like, "What the hell?" And it actually really added to it because I
Sure.
felt like I was okay. I'm out here in the rain with you guys, watching you guys have a duel. But the rumbling of the seats was fun. The movement was kind of fun. A little bit of smoke and laser fire around the side of the stage. But I really feel like 40X is a gimmick that I
Mhm.
really doesn't do much for me. You know,
Well, well,
ultimately, I mean, I like the what you mentioned with gravity, with the
mhm.
chair kind of slowly moving to the side, and that
it,
sounds
it
kind of fun.
it was subtle
Very
and
subtle. That
right.
kind of adds a subtle thing to it. But I feel like it's kind of a gimmick that won't last.
Well, okay, and thank you, Mindy, for asking a question. And again, anyone else in the chat, feel free to pose any questions you have, and we'll go ahead and ask Dean here. Um, so with these new technologies, do you think it's going to be the catalyst of which movies the major studios choose to release in the future? And I'm speaking specifically for like the Marvel, the Star Wars, the DC movies, because now the cinema experience has become a ride. You know?
I think ultimately, like I was mentioning before with my AMC pass, where I pay $25 a month for 12 movies, ultimately, I think that the studios need to work out deals with the theaters, with the cineplexes, to encourage people to see more movies at a cheaper price. I don't think the gimmicks are going to get them there. People aren't going to theaters because they don't want to spend $20 to see a movie. You know, they can wait a couple months and buy it on Blu-ray, or they
Right.
can rent it on their TV.
Right.
They're not going to spend $20 each to see that in a theater,
Mm-hmm.
but they will pay $25 a month to see 12 of those movies.
Mm-hmm.
They will do that. I do it. That's what
Mm-hmm.
I do that. They just need to figure out a better marketing plan. That needs to be the bigger motivator and not some gimmick like, rain and smoke.
I also think we have to keep in mind we aren't necessarily the demographic some of these theaters are trying to market to anymore, or the studios. I think it's always kind of marketed to whether it be the teenagers, uh, not necessarily tweens, but like older junior high, high school kids, college, someone that's going to become obsessed. You're not old enough to drink. You're going to the movie theater with your friends. You're watching something over and over. Like for instance, I grew up as a comic book kid, and when Marvel and DC really started making all these comic book movies, I watched every single one. I want to see how they adapted these books that I grew up reading into movies now, and I feel like there's a built-in audience coming up for the video game kids. They grew up playing these games, whatever it might be, and now you take advantage of the tech to really go from them playing the game to feeling like they're watching this world that they were obsessed with play out, and they're a part of it, like you're saying, with the rain and the seat and the lighting and whatnot. It's not exactly
They can
feeling.
get that in virtual reality video games now.
Ooh,
I think the technology that they have for virtual reality surpasses any gimmick a theater could present.
that's awesome.
Yeah, no kid's going to give a shit about that.
Okay, I mean, and I love that.
As virtual reality progresses, you're going to get less people in the theater.
Right. Well, I also think there's something with Meta trying to really jump on it now. It's going to be so many of these different elements of like social media, it's video games, and your viewing experience of like they watch sports, and now you're sitting courtside for a game. It's also going to become porno. It's all these things that are already kind of there and in online culture and whatnot in one. So I think that's a great point. I do think they'll be able to incorporate a lot of that into virtual reality. And I wonder if that's the next level of kind of the film watching experience too is you actually now being a character in the movie, like not even necessarily a video game where it's gameplay, but it's almost choose your own adventure, walking through rooms, walking through the house, walking through this, being a part of it.
Yeah, being able to look around that whole room.
It's really interesting to see where they might end going with all this new tech.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I am going to try to start wrapping us up here pretty soon. But before I do, I wanted to pick your brain a little bit. Being that, you did study film, you know that there are various elements of film, and I'm thinking specifically story. You watch something because it has an amazing story. It's a way to tell a story. The cinematography, visually, how are we going to tell the story? Production design, what is it here that we're looking at? Costume, sound design, editing, score. There's all these different things. So just kind of quick fire. If I was to ask you some questions, I want to just get your opinion. What you think when I say, what do you think is a film that's a shining example of mastering these various elements? So I'm going to say something, and first thing that comes to mind, you let me know what you think of, okay?
Well, you know what? I can just sidestep all of that.
Yeah.
I mean, because you already mentioned Eraserhead.
Yeah.
I would say that is actually a prime example of a mastery of all of those elements. I think that's one of the. I went back and watched it again recently after David Lynch died, and because I already loved the movie, but I watched it again and I was like, man, I almost forgot how much I loved it and
Right.
why I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because of all of the elements that you were just mentioning.
Mm-hmm.
David Lynch was in a very unique position when he made that movie to be the master of all of it. And he was literally creating this moving picture that was everything that he maybe already saw in his head when he was sleeping. And it was just so great. Every element was there. The acting, the story, the cinematography, the production value, the sound.
Yeah.
Everything. I mean, it's such a great movie. It really is.
Not only do I think it's such a great answer, it's hard. Recently, my girlfriend and I were watching the Insidious movies, and the sound design on that. One of my biggest pet peeves, and I don't know if most people who watch a movie think like I do about this too, is when you have Foley that's being done, whether it be the door creak or the cigarette being lit, and it's so fucking loud. It's unnaturally loud. You have dialogue going on. You have the musical score. Okay, I get that. But now someone opens a door and it's not just like, it's like, what are we doing here? Someone sits down on a couch. It's squishy. It's like, what is happening? It's like, I feel like someone is involved in all the Insidious movies. If you watch any of them, tell me it's not obnoxious how loud everything is. It's just like, why?
All right, I'll watch them again. I'll check it out.
It's just like, I feel like it's like someone's like, this is my job, and I want to show you I care about my job, and now you're going to pay attention to me doing it. But I would say it's so much better if like you're doing all those elements and I don't notice it. They're there, but it's maybe a third or a quarter of the volume of the dialogue and what's happening. I mean, if you're walking in from the snow, it's just like clap, 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 slap. It's like, just stop, turn everything.
Well, that's very subjective though, because with some movies, I feel like the music is almost another character, and it's not something that you shouldn't notice. It's something you do notice, and it adds to it so heavily.
Okay, but I'm not necessarily even speaking about the music and the score. And at times, I'll push back where I feel like I don't need to be emotionally manipulated if the performance is there. Like, it's almost like a laugh track to me. If Friends is on and someone goes, "What are you doing, Joey? You're gonna have a Danish?" It's like, I don't need all that. I can decide for myself.
I don't like laugh tracks, but I love powerful music that works within the painting.
No, and it's great. Again, Gravity. I think that might be one of the best examples of sound design and score and elements because not only do you have the actual dialogue that's being picked up and recorded live, and they're using a certain type of microphone that I guess the astronauts use, but then you have the Foley being put in and the score and the layers, but it's leveled in such a way where it doesn't take away the focus from the viewing experience. I don't want any element to take me out of it. Or what? Did you see Nosferatu, the most recent iteration of Nosferatu?
Seen it 3 times in the theater.
Okay, so that movie, I remember watching it and I was being like, it was so, the costume design. Okay, aside from the cinematography, which Eggers is great. I mean, The Witch, the Lighthouse. I love his eye already, but the costume design itself, I was like, this is beautiful. I'm going into dream mode. I can tell I'm safe. It's like if someone's driving the car, the best thing someone can do to tell you did a good job driving is never mention it once to you. They don't say, hey, you know, you weren't too jerky this time with it, or you weren't going too fast. They don't say a damn word because they don't think about it. You just got there and they're like, okay, you did a great job. Same thing when I watch a movie sometimes and I'm like, oh, this guy is nailing all the things. Now I'm comfortable just falling into the experience of being a viewer and whatever the story is taking place. But sometimes it feels a little too heavy-handed, especially with these more amateurish directors. Let me ask you something too, just while we're on the subject of these films and these elements. Did you get a chance to see Demi Moore's? Is it Demi? It's not Demi. It's
Demi Moore Substance.
I don't even think it's Demi. I'm telling you, my whole life I've been saying Demi Moore. Someone just recently said it's like Demi or something, but now I don't know how to say her name. We'll just, for the sake of it, Ms. Moore's Substance. Yeah. Did you see this performance? Did you see the film?
No, you know, and I can't. I don't want to see it, even though I know she's great
no.
in it. I don't like body horror films. I don't like those.
It
It's a
is.
huge turnoff for me.
It's nightmarish. It
Yeah, I don't
is.
like
It is the greatest film I never feel like I need to see again.
Yeah, I
But
don't like body horror.
it's so it is very disturbing. I think she's
Yeah.
going to win Best Actress. I also
Well,
think.
she's not nominated for Best Actress.
What is she nominated for?
She was nominated in the Golden Globes, and she won Best Actress for the Golden Globes, but not for the Oscars.
Wait a minute. Hold on here. Let's see.
Yeah, she's not.
Okay, Google.
It's kind of crazy.
Is Demi Moore nominated for Best Actress for her performance in The Substance?
According to Variety, at 62, Moore has just earned her first Academy Award nomination for Best Actress, a recognition that was
I'm
both
wrong.
expected and
I'm
long
totally
overdue.
wrong.
Okay.
Can't
And
correct.
the
I
only
didn't
reason,
think she was nominated.
yeah, that's the only reason I'm telling you this performance is mind blowing. That's why I wanted to check.
I'm
Like,
glad she got nominated. That's great. I didn't think she got nominated.
I would have been shocked. That's the only reason I wanted to fact check it, is because she's amazing. But this
Yeah.
filmmaker, who I don't know if it's their first time filmmaker, they clearly had a huge budget. It is so influenced by Kubrick and who's this guy who made The Thing?
John Carpenter?
Not saying that is right, but I don't think it's Carpenter. It's or no, it's who made The Fly.
Oh, Cronenberg.
Cronenberg is a huge
Cronenberg
influence.
loves body horror.
Right. So Cronenberg is a huge influence in all of this. Kubrick is a huge influence. There's so many little nods to these other filmmakers that it's almost worth. I highly suggest trying to watch it in 3 pieces.
Maybe I'll take it in breaks at
That's
home.
what I'm saying. That's the way to do it. And it's actually set up like that. It's set up in acts. You watch the first act, you're like, all right, you go through your night terrors, and then you come back when you're ready, and it's worth it. But it's an amazing film, and it may be, I don't know what it's up against. I don't even know if it's up for Best Picture. I would think it'd be the first horror that's potentially worthy of consideration to win Best Picture. But moving on, and then we're already 3 minutes over time. last question before I let you go, and thank you again, Dean, for coming on. It's
Yeah,
really
thank you.
a treat. What are your 5 favorite movies?
Number 1, Blade Runner.
Ooh,
Number 2, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Why though?
You don't have time for that. I got to tap out here in a minute.
Okay.
Blade Runner, Raiders of the Lost Ark,
Uh-huh.
Star Wars, The New Hope.
Okay.
Back to the Future, and the original King Kong from 1933.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Is there anywhere your fans and followers may be able to, keep an eye on what you're doing? Are you on X or Threads or anything like that? Can they stalk you at your favorite coffee shop?
I do use Instagram occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
I am a Facebook junkie.
Mm-hmm.
I just got rid of my Twitter account or X or whatever the fuck it is.
Because Musk is a monster.
Yeah, you can check me out on Instagram.
Okay, what's your handle there? I'll throw it up just so they can keep an eye if they wanted to add you.
It's just my name.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't cool about it. It was just me, Dan Bachar.
You got it. And Bachar is spelled Bachar. Is that correct?
Yep, that's it.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw that down there. Again, we appreciate you coming on. Is there any parting words you want to say for anyone who's interested in seeing what you're doing with this new production you're trying to write or put out there, or if they want to see you in Nightmare Alley or anything, or just this we did the thing?
Just go see more movies.
I like it. All right. Thank you, Dean. I appreciate you for coming on, and thank you for everyone watching.
You, man.
Take it easy. You have a good day.
You too, man. Thank you.